allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll move next to roll call. Treasurer Aldrich.
Darrell Pearson. Present. Richard Traeger.
Present.
Brian Garrison.
Present.
Dale Stewart.
Here.
Mike Shaw.
Present.
We'll move next to reading of minutes and approval. Before you have the Common Council minutes of the November 7th, 2016 regular meeting. Are there any additions, subtractions, amendments, or deletions to be made to this document? Now I'll hear a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of November 7th, 2016. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move next to reports from committees, boards, commissions, and departments, starting with executive reports from the mayor, Board of Public Works and Safety, BOAC, police, fire, community development, streets and parks, wastewater, water, and office of the clerk treasurer. Do we have any questions for the mayor or our department heads? Hearing none, clerk treasurer Aldrich, do you have anything to? Councilman Garrison, do we have an update from the area plan commission?
We're working on nothing that really involves the city, but we're not handling right here with our two that we have on the agenda for tonight, so nothing to report on those.
Thank you. We'll move next to this community center. I didn't change that. That's my fault. Community center committee update. Councilman Seward and Shockley. Do you have an update for us?
I think, you want to give it?
That's fine.
Okay.
We met last week and went over some of the plans that were generated by Mr. Maddox. Kicked around some ideas as far as what the building should look like, where it should sit. Those were tentatively finalized, and we're waiting for blueprints, correct? Is that right? We're waiting for blueprints so we can request a quote for the actual building, and we're also waiting on a contract for Mr. Maddox to get that going. I don't know what the status of that is.
That's on me. I need to get that signed here.
Okay.
Because it's under the $5,000 threshold, I believe. I should be able to do
Yes.
that at any time, so.
Okay. That probably needs to be done
Yes, sir.
very quick. But all in all, it's progressing nicely, I think, and we've got, we went out a couple weeks ago and took measurements, height measurements, and everything of that nature to where, you know, we can set the building and not worry about water and things of that. So I think we're in good shape. We're going to be moving on to the fundraising aspect of it next and going from there.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Shockley, do you have anything to add?
No, not really.
Thank you, gentlemen. We'll move next to introduction of the new airport manager, Mr. Jason Hart. If you could please introduce yourself and give us some brief background and some of your qualifications here, sir.
All right, like you said, my name is Jason Hart. I'll be the new airport manager here in Delphi, starting January 1st, taking over from Reese Creekport. I'm a student at Purdue University studying aviation management, junior to be specific. My background is currently just in flight. I am on the Purdue flight team, and I do a lot of other flight-oriented clubs around Purdue. My major background is actually hot air ballooning, which I do back home in Roanoke, Indiana. I'm looking forward to working with all of you. I plan on making Delphi Airport a more community-central airport because all the airports I've experienced so far are very reliant on everybody around. And I look forward to building connections with other airports around like Purdue because for flight team we actually use the Delphi Airport quite a bit. And it feels weird not to use our own, so I'd like to build a connection that lasts for ages. We can keep making this airport great.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. Do you have any questions for, you begin January 1st, 2017?
Yes, sir.
Does council have any questions for Mr. Hart? Thank you, sir. Ms. Walls informed me she's gonna be running late to this meeting, so we can pick her up later on tonight. And as there's members of the public here for some of the zoning issues and public hearings, unless I have any objections from the council, I'd like to go to the public hearing for 1105 South Masonic Street. They have a petition to vacate a formerly platted road, which was 2nd Street. Hearing none, this will be a public hearing part of the meeting. Well, I will open the public hearing. Mrs. Dunbar, you have an opportunity to speak after I get situated here a little bit. I'm situated. So Mrs. Dunbar, can you please present, we have your petition you filed with the city of Delphi, as well as maps and pictures, although I don't know, I didn't color copy them, so I don't know how well they turned out.
So I own the property there at 1105 South Masonic Street. Going into the courthouse, I found that the other part of the street had already been vacated north of our property, and I was just looking to see about if the council would vacate the other 18 feet on my property line.
Do we have any questions for Mrs. Dunbar? And we'll
When
hear
when you split an alley, when you have an alley vacated, does half of the alley go to the neighbor next to you, or does it all go to you?
Mr. Shockley, if Ms. Martin can answer this.
I believe it was not split fully, so when they split an alley, the north half goes to the northern parcel, south half goes to the southern parcel. For whatever reason, this half just did not get vacated, and it probably should have. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't have. So I looked into it, and it just, in my opinion, wasn't split properly originally.
The other
So
half.
to answer your question, yes, what she's splitting would not be split up, it would just go to the other, is it the southern, are you on the southern? The southern part. The northern part went just as it should, but the southern part stuck for some reason.
So this was formerly platted as a street. Like Ms. Martin said, for some reason, the northern part was vacated, went to the northern property owner, and this just stayed as a public way, although I don't know the last time the city utilized this public way. Ms. Dunbar, other property owners in the vicinity have an opportunity to speak. Mrs. Delback, would you like the opportunity to speak at this time?
I would like it surveyed. I need to know you would have it surveyed before, when actually you didn't.
Yes, ma'am, and actually I talked to Mrs. Dunbar last week and this morning. And,
Yeah.
If I can give some brief background, there's a fence that's being constructed on the southern property line of Mrs. Dolbeck's property, which is what's your address over there, ma'am? 1009. There's a fence being constructed on the property. There is some discrepancies as to where your southern property line is and whether or not the fence is beyond the property line. Mrs. Dunbar, would you like to comment on?
Yes, there's not a problem with getting it surveyed. I was just waiting for the city to vacate that portion first and then go have it surveyed. Because if I had it surveyed now, it would be where the line is now and not the vacated property. Does that make sense? So I'm not a problem getting it surveyed. I would never put something on somebody else's property.
I guess my question is, why isn't this done the way Mr. Shockley said? Half goes to one, half goes to the other.
So this used to be a street, was
I
platted.
understand that because my house sits on the other half of that street. I got part of the property on the other half of her street that you're talking about.
Right. But the split, it's already been split up in every section, so are you just to the east of,
All I'm
on
saying is,
Hamilton Street?
we got that little section there.
Right.
She won. That is a street now. Am I correct? That is a street now, right?
It's platted as a street, yes, sir.
Okay. So why isn't that split 50/50?
Because it was previously split, and I don't know what year it was split, and it was split at that time 50/50, where the northern half went to the northern property owner, which is where 1009 South Masonic Street is now. But for some reason, that southern half was never vacated.
That would have been the other half. It should have went to the southern parcel at that time, and for whatever reason, it did not. So to split it in half again wouldn't make sense.
I guess you guys are splitting it. I got a section of the street. Okay? It's the southern part, if you wanna call it that. Okay. Why isn't that section? It's never been split. Split down the middle.
I guess I'm confused what we're talking about now. Are we not talking about the same?
It's the same property.
No, only his is east.
I guess I don't wanna comment on that, cause I'm not sure if that's the same exact street that we're talking about right now.
It's the same street that the mayor's talking about. All I'm saying is it's a short, and I agree. I agree that it is a short street. Half of it's been vacated, which is, we know, it's the other half that's never been touched. Okay? And if that half hasn't been touched, why isn't it split in the middle, and when it went one and one went the other?
Do you live on Hamilton Street?
Yeah, I
Okay,
live right behind it.
all right. So on Hamilton Street, it was split right down the middle, northern part given to northern property owner, southern part given to southern property owner.
I think what he's
I
saying is, when that-
am not arguing that point, but
Right.
I agree with you. I'm taking the southern part and saying, why isn't that split in half? And half go to one, and half go to the other. Now, that's what the northern part did.
I think someone needs to draw it, so we know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
To my understanding, there was 36 feet of street
I don't know.
originally, what my understanding was.
If you, on the plotted property you see there from Beacon, it shows that the actual property value, or the properties, Mrs. Dunbar's property, she owns 2 lots there. I believe that when this property is vacated, there was another house that was sitting on the southernmost lot, at which point that house was tore down sometime in the past 40, 50 years, and the new house is built where it's at now. So that southern piece that may not have been allocated, the previous owners back several decades ago may have not even cared about that because their house was on the southernmost lot. So to ask why that wasn't vacated, we can't really know why it wasn't ever vacated. But I'm living at the residence now and I've mowed the yard and I see all the footings and everything out on the property where there was a second house. And looking at that area of plot map, you'll see that the property values based on the southern is higher than the northern lot where the new house is now, where it's actually kind of reversed, because now with the house being on the northern lot, it would make that property worth more money. But the 36 feet that went through, when they did vacate it, they vacated all 3 locations except for Mrs. Dunbar's property. And so that's what we're here tonight for, is to try to resolve that, because that's now been part of that property, maintained by that property for a lot of years, and it's the main drive access for that house.
Ms. Martin, do you have anything to add or clarify?
I guess if further investigation needs to be done, I'm glad to do that, but when I looked into it, it was my understanding, again, that the road was split. The northern half went to the northern parcel, and the southern half just did not get allocated as it should. I don't wanna go as far as saying it was an error, because I don't know what happened then, but to split that again would be, it wouldn't make any sense, because there's no way to attach a northern. So then you would have 75% of the road on the northern half and 25% on the southern, and that's not, it needs to be split, it just didn't get done fully.
I don't,
I would like to say that when they started building the fence, they didn't do it in the right way to begin with. I've lived there over 15 years. And some people who lived there, 3 people before them, had gotten a trailer, and they asked me if they could move the railroad ties 6 inches over so their trailer could fit, and I allowed it. And that's where the railroad ties are still at. And so they started moving stuff without even getting it surveyed or figuring anything out.
My apologies, I thought that that was the property line, because it looks like the railroad ties are there, for the part of the property line, so, but I will definitely, get a surveyor in there to survey on where it needs to be, and it will, be done properly.
Do members of the council have any questions for Mrs. Dunbar, Mrs. Dolwick, or any members of the public?
Well, I think Mr. Dunbar has the right idea of having a proper survey and then coming back, make sure that the fence is built on where it should be.
Yes.
And I'm 100% agreeance with you on that. Right now, with the public right-of-way, the notice that we got on the fence was that we were building a fence in the public right-of-way, and we were asked to cease and desist on building the fence from the Area Plan Commission, which we did immediately. So until we can get the property vacated to find out where the property line is, then we can have it surveyed, and the fence is on hold. The fence is really, if we have to move the fence a couple inches, I'll be happy to move that, but we need to.
There are no surveying stakes in that area?
No, I went out there with a metal detector and I dug holes for about 2 hours. Honestly, trying to find a surveying. I've talked with Doug about that.
I was wondering if there was a surveying stake on Hamilton Street, where the alley runs through there. Off
On 2nd Street?
Isn't it Hamilton, between Hamilton and Masonic, right?
Yeah, that would be 2nd Street.
And so, did you check on Hamilton Street?
I didn't go all the way on the other side
The
of
reason
it.
I say that is because the only surveying stake in my addition, because I just live a block down, it's a block down from where you people live. I have the only surveying stake in that whole area. It's right out in front of my house. And that's why I'm saying that you may have to go one way or the other to see where the surveyor started his surveying from.
Okay.
Because
Yeah, I checked that whole
the
back
two
alley.
stakes, actually there's 2 stakes. There's one on the right side of my house and the left side of my house. 2 stakes. And that's what they run all those houses in that division off of. So you may wanna do some, backwards
Okay.
to see about that. I'm not saying that they're there,
Yeah,
but I'm saying that that's what could have happened.
yeah. And like tonight, the petition to the council was to vacate the premise, or vacate the property, public right-of-way, so that we could then go forward with surveying and resolving the issue.
Is there a reason why you couldn't survey the southern edge of Mrs. Dolwick's property, and that should give you the boundary line where that vacated parcel would be? That'd give you the northern edge of the vacated parcel?
Yes, we can absolutely do that. That's, again, I mean, I didn't know vacate or to survey her
Are you
property.
saying that she doesn't have a chance to get any further?
As I understand it from this
Are you
moment.
talking about that southern part of the street?
Yeah,
The southern part of the street should attach to whoever has, and whatever the survey shows of the, no. So then it was already split in half. The northern half already went to the northern parcel.
I understand that. That's what I,
So if you split the southernmost half in half again, then you have 75% of the road going north and 25 going south.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Well, it seems to me you need to get the original lines of the alley, and then obviously you know what the center is. I mean, that's what we need to know, is what the original marks on each side of the alley were, or the street.
Right.
I mean,
And regardless of the survey, I think that survey is a great idea, but regardless of the survey and the property lines, that southern part of the street is going to go to whoever owns
Well, I
whatever
agree with that,
street.
but
So-
all I'm saying is, we know where the original was, and then it should be pretty simple to get the center, you know, that's what we're trying to do.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that's what happened, they already did the center, they just didn't finish it. They didn't
Do we know
complete
it's, I guess the other thing is, do we know it's a center, I guess? I would rather know exactly what the alley originally was and then get the true center line and be done right.
That may entail, if it's incorrect, redoing the vacating and attaching to all the northern parcels down the street. If the center line's incorrect, back when they did it, whenever,
Yeah.
and whoever.
We still need to know where the original street or alley was, to know what the true center is, I think. I mean,
I can, I'm glad to look it up.
So Mrs. Dunbar, would you be satisfied with getting a survey done on the boundary line that's in question where the fence is located right now?
So I would be surveying her property line, is what you're asking me to do?
Yes, ma'am. Would be, and Ms. Martin, correct me if that's a bad idea.
Well, I don't know that it's a bad idea, but she's gonna be paying to survey someone else's property. I mean, that's why I'm kind of confused. I would almost have thought that vacating it and it going to whoever it belongs to, whether it's whoever's property, may be more beneficial, and then survey it. But if you survey it, then she may be paying for a survey that she has zero benefit or
It's no longer being
influence
used,
in.
right?
No.
No,
No.
we,
So if we
Superintendent Lyons
vacate-
do use
So
it.
if we vacate it, they can figure all this coming out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Surveying and
That's-
everything else, you just need us to vacate it.
Absolutely.
So
Then I
it's
was gonna
not
get it
telling you
surveyed.
it's part of a road.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I knew,
Ultimately, they're, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Ultimately, they're gonna be responsible to survey it and be proper on their lines, period. I mean, they can't build anything until that's squared
Right.
away and everything is fair.
Okay. Do we have any other public comment for the public hearing? If not, I'm gonna close the public hearing and go back to the public meeting. Do we have any questions from the council before we close the public hearing part of this? If the public hearing is then closed, we'll go back to the public meeting. Ms. Martin, we would need an ordinance in order to vacate property, is that correct?
Yeah.
Pursuant to Delphi Code, ordinances require 3 readings unless we suspend the rules of procedure in order to do it in the same day as introduced. I'm not recommending that, but I want to make sure everybody knows. Council discussion at this point.
Well, I think the longer we hold up on it, then they can't find out anything. Because it sounds like, from what I'm hearing, that until it's vacated, it's not being used. Nobody can really make a decision on where the lines are because the line is really not where it's supposed to be.
Well, actually, it is kind of being used as a driveway, right?
Yes.
For the house.
It is being used,
By the same homeowner.
right, by the homeowner.
that doesn't mean it's really their driveway.
Well, I think that'll be figured out though once the survey's done.
Right.
And the only way the survey can get done is for us to vacate it, I believe.
This would be really similar to what we did for the
Yes.
gentleman that came into the Dollar General. It's exactly the same.
Yes.
It's not that we're not being sensitive to your issue, it's just a procedure.
Well, I think that'll be settled during the survey, wouldn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah, once we find the survey, then they put the
Once we're out of
fence
there,
on
they
their
can
property,
figure
there
out the
should be no
property line
problem.
and whose line's really where and what.
So we're actually benefits now.
Well, not necessarily.
Well, it leads to possibly benefiting them. Because
It
then they
leads
can
to-
make the determination of who owns what.
Leads to an answer anyways,
Yes.
whichever way it goes, leads to an answer.
So the ordinance that we would end up passing, it's in your packet as special ordinance number. An ordinance vacating a portion of South Masonic Street and public alleyways located in the city of Delphi, Carroll County, Indiana. Ms. Dunbar, I believe, used the Dollar General template when making this document. It would be vacating that portion of South Masonic Street as shown on the plat of Guilford's addition to the town, now city of Delphi, Indiana, bounded by Masonic Street to the west, alleyway to the east, and bounded by Lot 5, Block 5 of Guilford's addition to the north. Currently part of Plat 8, Block 8 of Guilford's addition path of access to residency. This is the first reading of this special ordinance. If the council so proceeds, it would be ordinance number 2016-21. Does that work with you? Or do you wanna make it 22 and come back to 21? This would be ordinance number 2016-21.
I move that ordinance 2016-21 be approved on first reading.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 2016-21 on first reading. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Did you want to continue this into January with second and third reading?
I make the motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules of procedure to allow voting on ordinance 2016-21 on the same day in which it was introduced. Do we have any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mackenzie, do we have to do second and then suspend and third and then suspend, or can we just make this the final?
I prefer you go that way.
Okay.
Sorry.
This is the second reading of 2016-21, ordinance vacating a portion of South Masonic Street and public alleyways located in the city of Delphi, Carroll County, Indiana. Rules of procedure have been passed. Do we have a motion to pass on second reading?
I'll make a motion to pass ordinance 2016-21 on second reading.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to pass ordinance 2016-21 on second reading. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Kenzie, do we need another suspension of the rules? Can we go to the third reading? Okay. This is the third reading of ordinance number 2016-21, an ordinance vacating a portion of South Masonic Street and public alleyways located in the city of Delphi, Carroll County, Indiana. Do we have a motion to approve on third and final reading?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to pass ordinance number 2016-21 on third and final reading. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ordinance number 2016-21 has been passed on final reading. And of course, man, I didn't get you a big copy of this one.
You're
After the meeting, why don't I run down and run it off on
Yeah, we can do it.
and then you guys can sign it.
Or I can sign, you can attest, and then we can have them sign it at the next, that special meeting on the 19th.
That's fine.
We'll move next to the zoning with Mrs. Beverly Cease. After looking up Indiana Code subsection 3674602, states if it's initiated with the legislative body, it needs to go back again before the area plan commission to get a recommendation before it comes back to the city council. Is that correct, Mr. Wagner?
I believe so, yeah.
Ms. Martin, does that sound kosher?
From what you read, yes.
So at this time, Ms. Martin has presented us with a draft ordinance for inclusion of bed and breakfast into a U1 urban residential district. Use is permitted a special exception by Board of Zoning Appeals. She also includes the definition of bed and breakfast and states some of the items that it can and cannot have. After review by the city council, is there anything presented by City Attorney Martin that you'd like amended before we send this back to the Area Plan Commission? And Ms. Cease, I apologize. I didn't realize earlier when we spoke that if it was initiated by the city council, it has to go back to APC. They give a recommendation, they can give favorable, unfavorable, or no recommendation, then it comes back before us to pass the ordinance. It's different than all other ordinances. I don't know what zoning is this way. It's a little different. We had Mr. Rose at the same time, but his was initiated in the Area Plan Commission. So I apologize for the delay.
However, it has to be.
Is there anything from the council that you see that you'd like amended, and specifically, I guess, section H, there's 10 sections in there.
Is someone going to live there?
Someone will, yes.
Okay. It's just one of the,
Yeah. I read through all those.
you what?
I read through all those.
Hearing no amendments from the city council, I will ask for a motion to submit this to the area plan commission for their recommendation prior to it coming back to the city council to be adopted in an ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to submit to the area plan commission these proposed amendments to section U1, urban residential district of the Delphi zoning ordinance. Do we have any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Wagner, you have a copy of this and can present it to the area plan commission at your January meeting, is that,
Yes,
so we can expect?
yes, it will have to be advertised and everything, and I'll get all the paperwork and stuff together on it.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. Thank you, Mrs. Cease. We'll move next, since we're in the zoning mood. Move next to Mr. Royal, zoning.
It's just that, Ryan or
Mr. Garrison.
Ryan? Okay.
We'll go next to zoning for 731 West Washington, or West Franklin Street. We tabled this discussion last month after Mr. Royal indicated he'd like to get permit.
Well, actually, you had said something about that.
And I believe in the past month, you've learned that you don't need a permit for the construction you were wishing to do. Is that correct,
That's
Mr. Royal?
correct. Not in a business zone, a B2 business zone, no. Is that correct?
It's considered a walkway or a platform which are exempt from permit, so would not require permit.
So, Mr. Royal, at this time, you would have no objections to us at least starting the process of amending it to a B2 zone?
I have no problem with that. I wouldn't, since Doug brought it up, originally there's an old plat map that we talked about in his office a while back. And that plat map, it indicated a shaded area that was an agricultural zone. But it's an old map. And I don't know if Mr. Wagner chose to, well, irregardless, I would prefer that it be a B2. But he initiated the process from the beginning, so.
I believe the county zoning map does show it as agricultural, but city zoning map doesn't show it as any.
Right, there is no ag district in the city, within the city zoning, so